Attorney Sanchez na maintained, operated, well-funded nilang mga opisina, extension offices. In fact, one time, the issue of security personnel deployed to the office of the Vice President was an issue. And then you also mentioned that security guards were also deployed in your offices. And yet, we have incidents of this na isang na tanggapan ng pangalawang pinakamataas na opisyal ng bansa ay nalooban at napagnakawan pa. So I just wanted to stress that point, Mr. Chair, so that we can take due notice of that incident. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker J.J. Suarez. The chair would like to recognize Congresswoman Luis Tro.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I wish to raise my questions to Ms. Villa Del Rey. Ma'am, you confirm that you are the Chief Accountant of OVP?
Yes, Your Honor.
May we know how long have you been working at the Office of the Vice President?
I was started in the OVP since 1990, Your Honor. I'm already in my 34th year.
1990.
Yes, Your Honor.
Can you please share with us who was the Vice President then?
It was still Vice President Doy Laurel, Your Honor.
Doy Laurel.
Salvador Laurel.
My question for you, Ms. Villa Del Rey, would it be correct to say that during the time of Vice President Duterte, there are two kinds of key officials? One are those who have been with the OVP for so long a time, like you. And the other kind are those who came along with the Vice President, either from Davao City LGU or from her electoral campaign. Would that be correct?
Tama po, Your Honor.
Kapag sinabi po ba natin na key officials who have been with the OVP for so long a time, tama po bang tawagin to na career officials?
Tama po, Your Honor.
And with respect to those who came along with the Vice President, either from Davao City LGU or from her electoral campaign, are these what we call the coterminous or confidential officials?
Tama po, Your Honor.
Just for the enlightenment of the committee, Ms. Villa Del Rey, can you please cite at least some names of the key officials of OVP who are career officials?
From SG24 Division Head, Your Honor, down to rank and file, Your Honor, all other officials are coterminous or appointed officials.
You said SG24 down to rank and file are career officials.
Tama po, Your
So
Honor.
would it be correct to say that if the officials are higher than SG24, these are the confidential officials?
Coterminous and confidential officials, Your Honor.
What is the difference, if there is any, between coterminous and confidential officials?
For coterminous employees, officials, Your Honor, they are, as I understand din po ito, is within the term po of the current administration or the current Vice President.
And how about confidential officials, if there's any difference?
Same coterminous, Your Honor.
So there is no difference at all between coterminous and confidential officials. As a matter of fact, I have observed that these two terminologies are being used interchangeably. Do you confirm that, Ms. Villa Del Rey?
For me, Your Honor, yes po.
Okay. With respect to the confidential officials or coterminous officials, can you please name some or few officials who were brought in to the OVP by Vice President Duterte?
Based on the positions, Your Honor, we have the Chief of Staff, the Assistant Chief of Staff, the Director for Operations, the Director for SMO, Director for Admin and Finance, and all other coterminous employees under the said officials.
Does that include the special dispersing officer?
Yes, Your Honor.
What salary grade is SDO?
For our SDO, for confidential is, if tama po yung pagkakatanda ko, is SG24.
SG24, but earlier you said if it is SG24 down to rank and file, that is career officials. And if that is higher than SG24, then that will be confidential officials. Can you please enlighten us on this?
There are positions po na SG24, but they are not division heads under career or under permanent plantilla positions, Your Honor. SG24 under coterminous.
How many SDO do you have?
I cannot recall, Your Honor, but we have SDO for various activities. We have SDO for confidential fund.
And you confirm that the SDO for confidential fund is Gina Acosta.
Yes, Your Honor.
And what salary grade is that?
SG24, Your Honor.
SG24 career official.
Non-career po.
Non-career official. Ms. Villa del Rey, I understand that in August 2022, the Office of the Vice President requested for augmentation fund, which includes confidential fund. Do you confirm this?
Your Honor, may I refer your question to our budget officer?
Yes, please.
Mr. Kelvin, you are recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I confirm that there was a request to DBM for the augmentation of fund of OVP in August FY 2020.
May we know, sir, how long have you been connected to the OVP?
I have been with OVP since 2014, since former Vice President Binay. Mr.
Vice
Chair.
President Binay. So I believe that you are in the best position to answer whether during the time of Vice President Leni Robredo, mayroon din po bang confidential fund nung time ni Vice President Leni Robredo?
There was no confidential fund during the term of Vice President Leni Robredo.
There was no confidential fund during the time of Vice President Leni Robredo. How about during the time of Vice President Jejomar Binay?
I am not a budget officer during that time, so I have no knowledge. But per records, I think earlier years of his term, meron po confidential fund.
Would you be able to enlighten us how many times did Vice President Binay requested for confidential funds during his term?
I cannot give definite answer.
Oy, buhaya, Castro!
But documents available in the office.
Castro! Ang suot mo! Yung suot mo!
Regarding confidential fund. However, there
Laki
is
na ng
also
kinita mo!
correspondences, reflecting to
Castro!
revert back the release of confidential funds.
Kumita ka
There are sources
na!
which
Lumaki na
say
yung tiyan
that-
mo!
Vice President
Labas ng
Jejomar
bituka mo!
Binay had confidential fund only once. But of course, this is subject to your verification.
I will check, Madam Mr. Chair.
I wish to go back to Ms. Villa del Rey, but I would not mind, Kevin, if you will
Ang
continue
tawa-tawa mo
answering
na!
the questions.
Laki na
She's
nang binigyan ni
temporary
Pamba
now.
sa'yo!
Would it be correct to say,
Pero kulong ka
Sir,
sa bandang huli. Sigurado
since
kulong
there
ka.
are no confidential funds during the time of Vice President Robredo, and Vice President Jejomar Binay only had once, would it be correct to say that the career officials of Vice President of the Office of the OVP during the time of Vice President Sara are not used or inexperienced with respect to confidential fund?
I would agree, Mr. Chair. However, we are always guided by certain circulars or guidelines.
And if you agree that the career officials are inexperienced with respect to confidential fund, there being no confidential funds during the time of the former vice presidents, to be particular, Robredo and Binay. Would it be correct to say that it is the confidential officials of Vice President Duterte who are experienced with respect to confidential funds?
I have no information, Mr. Chair, with regard to the experience of the coterminous or confidential employees of this administration.
Do you know Yusek Sulaika Lopez?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Would you know where she came from before she assumed her position at the OVP?
During that time, I think she was previously she was the city administrator of.
And would you know how long she was employed as city
Mr.
administrator?
Castro, akala mo kung makapagtanong, malinis
Mr.
eh.
Chair, I have no.
Mukha
But
pa
at
lang niya
least
eh.
would you know
Tawatan na
how
eh.
long was she connected with the Davao City LGU prior to OVP stint?
I cannot remember, but during the first, I think payroll, of course, attachment of those documents are the service records, but I have no exact or number of years to tell the committee of Attorney Sulaika Lopez as employee of the Davao LGU.
How about Miss Gina Acosta? Do you know her?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Would you know where she came from?
Same from Davao LGU.
And would you know how long she was connected to Davao City LGU prior to her assumption of office at the OVP?
No, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, I just want to manifest that during the previous hearings, we were able to present already before the committee the confidential funds of the city of Davao since 1988. And if my memory
Mukha pa lang
serves me
ito.
right, during the time of
Akala
then
mo kung
Mayor
sino eh.
Sara
Oh. Tingnan mo,
Duterte,
pagmumukha oh.
the confidential fund was 420 million, and then it was raised to 460 million until she finished her term as mayor of Davao City. Having this in mind,
Oh.
sir,
Yes, Mr. Chair.
would you agree with me if I would say that Yusek Sulaika Lopez
Gandahan mo na, Castro.
SDO
Kasi
Gina
malapit ka na
Acosta
makulong. 3
are
taon na
well
lang pinakamatagal.
experienced with regards to confidential fund?
I cannot surmise, Mr. Chair, because I have no knowledge of their position or participation in the Davao LGU.
Let us proceed to the fiscal and financial plan. I hope you are in the position to answer this. May we request the secretary to please flash the fiscal and financial plan. Based on this document, sir, the OVP requested for 250 million confidential funds. This is for the fourth quarter of 2022. Kaka-assume lang po ng opisina ng ating Vice Presidente. And this is for the implementation of the Good Governance Program. Do you confirm this?
I confirm the document, Mr. Chair.
And according to this document, the amount of 250 million confidential funds is supposed to be spent for a period of 3 months, equivalent to 90 days, representing the fourth quarter of 2022.
Wala na
Tama
yan.
po ba?
Hindi na pinapakinggan ng mga tao.
And to be
Paliwanag mo.
specific, that would mean
Alam
October,
nilang scripted lahat
November,
yan.
and December of 2022.
I agree,
You
Mr.
confirm?
Chair.
Scripted at
And of course,
paninira
you
lang.
are aware also that the entire amount of 250 million was not approved. Am I correct?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And what was approved by the DBM only was 125 million. Tama po?
That's correct, Mr. Chair.
Considering that the program that was presented to the DBM for that 250 million is 3 months, equivalent to 90 days, representing the last 3 months of the year 2022. Tama po bang sabihin that with regards to the approved 125 billion confidential fund, This is supposed to be spent for a period of 1.5 months, equivalent to 45 days, part of the last quarter of 2022.
I cannot tell that the amount of 125 million must be spent for 1.5 months, ma'am.
But at least, sir, if we will be basing it on the fiscal and financial plan, which presented the 250 million as expenses to be incurred for the last quarter of 2022, which is equivalent to 3 months or 90 days, if the
Ito, kung di ba naman buwang itong mga buhaya ito, mga tuwad ko, kung di ba naman mga buwang, bakit iimbestigahan nila yung 125 million lang? Samantala yung flood control na sinasabi ni Bobong Marcos na ano ba yan? Ayon sa paliwanag ni Joel Villanueva, 1.4 billion araw-araw. Buwang na Castro, 1.4 billion araw-araw, hindi buwan, araw-araw, hindi million, billion. Ito mga buhay na ito na congressman. Ay, tuloy natin mga guys.
PM approve only 1/2, then it is reasonable to assume that 125 billion representing 1/2 is supposed to be spent in 1/2 number of days of the supposed 90 days. And that is 45 days. Is that a reasonable interpretation?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I think
It is a
Is that reasonable? 1.4 billion kada araw for flood control na puro baha na naman? Pwede mo tanungin ang sarili mo, Castro. Buwang na babae na ito.
reasonable interpretation. Of course, we wish to manifest to the committee 250 million po ang request na confidential fund under the Good Governance Program. This is supposed to be spent during the last quarter of 2022. That is 3 months, equivalent to 90 days, and to be specific, the month of October, November, and December of the year 2022. Considering, Mr. Chair, that what was approved was only 1/2 of the requested amount, that is 125 million, I wish to believe that this is supposed to be spent in 1/2 of the presented period, that is 45 days or 1.5 months of the last quarter of 2022. Nonetheless, Mr. Chair, during our previous
Oy, Castro, tumigil ka na. At wala naman nagkikinig sa paliwanag mo. Hindi naman anong taong bayan sa'yo. Tsaka sa inyo, mga bistado na kayo dyan. Puro paninira. Wala naman kang ginagawa dyan, kung paninira lang.
hearings, it was established already, and I wish to confirm this from our resource speaker, that 125 million confidential fund of the OVP was spent only within the period of 11 days.
If we will base it on the date of check, I think it is equivalent to 11 days, ma'am, Mr. Chair.
Yes, and can we please flash the next slide? There. The utilization of confidential fund, 125 million. December 21,
Tingnan mo,
to
125
December
million
31,
pinag-uusapan.
2022. And that is equivalent to 11
Samantala, ninanakaw niyo. Billion-billion ang
Do you
ninanakaw
confirm
niyo.
this, sir?
I confirm, Mr. Chair.
Now, let us look back to the 16 million portion of the 125 million confidential fund, which was used in the maintenance or rental of safe houses. This was liquidated by the use of 34 acknowledgement receipts. Do you confirm this?
I cannot confirm, Mr. Chair, because I have no participation or knowledge with regard to the disbursement or the liquidation of the.
I
confidential
understand.
funds.
Can we go back to Ms. Villa del Rey? Ma'am, can we confirm that the 16 million portion of the 125 million confidential funds was liquidated by way of acknowledgement receipts, 34 acknowledgement receipts representing rental of safe houses?
I cannot confirm, Your Honor, since I have no personal knowledge on the disbursement and utilization
Oh.
of confidential
Oh.
fund.
Do we have a resource speaker who have
Oh,
knowledge about this acknowledgement receipt? There
oh.
is none. Nevertheless, Mr. Chair, let this representation manifest that the records show that the 125 million confidential fund was approved for the last quarter of
Ang haba pang
2022. And
ang haba
16
pang
million out of the same amount was
script
liquidated
mo. Bilisan
by
mo na
way
yung
of
script
34
mo.
acknowledgement receipts representing rental of safe houses. And I wish to further manifest, Mr. Chair, that the lowest amount among the 34 acknowledgement receipt is 250,000, which was spent for 11 days, representing the rental of 22,000 per day for the said safe house.
Bilisan mo
The
na yung script
highest
mo.
amount
Bilisan mo na.
of acknowledgement receipt, Mr. Chair, is 1 million. And if we divide this into 11 days, that would mean that the rental per day for the safe house is 90,000, way higher than the luxury hotel.
90,000 lang? Eh, yung flood control? Yung flood control, 1.4 billion araw-araw. Buwang. Castro.
hotels as previously presented and established in our hearings, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I wish to go back to Ms. Villa del Rey. Ma'am, doon po sa letter to the DVM for the request for augmentation fund, the purpose that was cited, safe implementation of various projects and activities under the Good Governance Program. Do you confirm this?
I don't have knowledge of the request, Your Honor. I only have copy of the letter.
Can we please flash again the physical and financial plan? At least Ms. Villa del Rey, please confirm it from the
Hindi na.
document from the office of the OVP. It says safe implementation of OVP. I cannot read anymore. Would you know, Ms. Villa del Rey,
Alam
if during
nyo,
the time
ang
of Vice
pinag-uusapan
President
dyan ay
Robredo,
confidential. Bakit
there is good
confidential?
governance
Kaya
program
confidential eh.
Yes, Your
Eh, halatang
and
paniniralan,
under
confidential
Vice
eh.
President Robredo's good governance program, may kasama po ba doon na maintenance of safe houses?
Wala po, Your Honor.
Then can you please enlighten us? Bakit po dito sa good governance program ni Vice President Duterte may nasamang maintenance of safe houses under confidential fund?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. Wala po akong knowledge doon sa disbursement and utilization ng confidential funds.
Nonetheless, Mr. Chair, I wish to manifest that although both Vice President Robredo and Vice President Duterte
Congresswoman Luistro, maybe we can ask Attorney Sanchez because I
Eh,
noticed
bilisan mo na.
her name was included in that document.
Mga crocs.
Ms. Sanchez, Attorney Sanchez,
Yes, Mr.
Itong
Chair,
crocs na
Your
ito,
Honor.
matatalo na
do
itong
you
crocs na ito ng
confirm
Manila.
that Vice President Robredo has good governance program also?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Would you confirm that under Vice President Robredo's good governance program, there is no confidential fund?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
And would you further confirm that under Vice President Robredo's good governance program, there is no maintenance of safe houses?
Oy, buwang na Castro. Hindi naman lahat ng nakaupo dyan ay pare-pareho ang utak. Ang gusto mo, kung ano ang ginawa ni Robredo, yung din ang gawin ni Sara. Yun ang nasa utak mo. Hindi naman lahat ng na pare-pareho. Kahit presidente, hindi lahat ng pareho o mayor man o kahit anong posisyon, hindi lahat na pare-pareho ang patakaran o ano bang tawag diyan? Yung pamamalakad. Bakit di ko compare mo kay Robredo? Si Robredo, iba naman yung pamamalakad niya. Itong naging congressman pa, para lang kapanira, hindi alam ang ginagawa. Alam naman nila yan, pero dahil sa gusto nilang siraan si VP Sara, ganyan ang ginagawa nila. Halatang halata.
Yes, Mr. Chair, Your Honor.
Please enlighten us. Bakit po pagdating sa programa, same program, good governance program of Vice President Duterte, biglang nagkaroon ng confidential fund, biglang nagkaroon ng maintenance of safe houses?
Your Honor, the budget was proposed by the Office of the Vice President. And it would be for different programs, Your Honor. But as to the details, Your Honor, I do not have information on the specific details and items to be spent under the confidential expense.
Would it
Your
be
Honor.
correct to say that the key officials of Vice President Duterte altered the menu of the good governance program of then Vice President Robredo?
Mr. Chair, Your Honor, I think that would be a possible explanation, Your Honor.
And are they really allowed to
Natatakot na yung mga
alter the
empleyado
program?
sa kalukuhan niyo.
Mr. Chair, Your Honor, from my understanding, Your Honor, yes, that
Oo,
may be allowed
kinakawahan yung
because,
kawawa naman yung mga
in the
pinapatawag
budget
nila.
of the OVP,
Mga worker
there
lang.
is a general item, Your Honor, only, which is the good governance program.
In other words, Attorney Sanchez, that good governance program is just a nomenclature.
It's like
And as to what will be the menu under the good governance program, that will depend on the Vice President. Am I correct?
Mr. Chair, Your Honor, that is my understanding, Your Honor.
And who therefore prepared the program of the good governance program under the time of Vice President Duterte?
Mr. Chair, Your Honor, that would be the Office of the Vice President, Your Honor.
Can you please cite the name? Who in particular among the key officials prepared?
Sabihin mo si Sara. Yan ang ituro nyo para hindi na kayo masabit. Yan ang gawin nyo. Kung ako ang nandyan, lahat ng ko na lang kay Sara kasi total takot naman sila diyan eh. Hindi naman nila kaya yan si Sara eh. Kayo lang ang inipit niyan para lang propaganda lang naman yan eh. Wala rin patutunguhan yan.
Your Honor, I do not have the specific information on who the particular persons who prepared, but the request was submitted to the Budget Division, Your Honor.
Nevertheless, Mr. Chair, in spite of the admission of Attorney Sanchez that they can alter, what is clear, the program Good Governance under Vice President Duterte suddenly include confidential fund and maintenance of safe houses, items which were never seen and which were never included in the program of Vice President Robredo. Am I correct, ma'am?
That is correct, Mr. Chair.
Another important observation, Mr. Chair, Attorney Sanchez. Last quarter of December 2022, OVP spent 16 million for maintenance of safe houses. Do you confirm?
I have no personal knowledge, Your Honor.
Yan. Yan ang mo.
May we know if any one of you has personal knowledge about this? Ms. Villa del Rey?
Yan.
And Your Honor.
Pipilitin niya maghanap.
Nevertheless, let me finish this manifestation.
Finish mo na.
2022 last quarter, the OVP spent 16 million for maintenance of safe houses. This was followed by 2023 first quarter, another 16 million for maintenance of safe houses. This was followed by 2023 Second quarter, another 16 million for maintenance of safe houses. And finally, 2023 third quarter, this time 5 million maintenance of safe houses. The only conclusion that I can derive from 2022 last quarter to the third quarter of 2023, meron kayong informants or assets whom you are keeping in the safe houses that the OVP is renting. The question, however, is, why suddenly, pagdating ng last quarter ng 2023, wala nang expenditure for safe houses or not even for confidential fund? San po napunta yung informant at assets nyo, which you have been keeping in your safe houses from the last quarter of 2022 to the third quarter of 2023? Yun po ba inabandon ng OVP? Yun po ba biglang nag-disappear? I understand that you have no personal knowledge, but at least please give us a reasonable interpretation of what happened. Why suddenly, in the last quarter of 2023, nawala ang maintenance
Sumisingaw
ng
na
safe
yung baho ng
houses,
bunganga mo,
which means
Luisi.
nawala
Luisi,
din ang informants at saka
tumigil
assets.
ka na dyan. Wala namang nakikinig sa'yo.
Where did they
Tumigil
go?
ka na. Hindi rin na alam niyan.
Miss Villa del Rey?
Oh.
I'm sorry, Your Honor,
Oh.
I cannot answer that.
Ayan, wag mong anuin.
Knowledge of the utilization
Wag
of the
mong
funds.
sagutin.
Attorney Sanchez?
Your Honor, I also apologize. Same.
Oh,
as,
yan ang gawin nyo. Wag nyo anuin para wala silang yung
Sir
buhaya.
Same, Mr. Chair. I have no knowledge or participation in the utilization of the confidential funds.
Miss Rabago?
Same, Mr. Chair. I don't have a personal
Yan,
knowledge.
para wala silang ano.
Miss Villa del Rey?
Tama
Can
yan.
you at least tell us who has the
Oh, hindi pa rin
personal
satisfied.
knowledge over these matters?
Sabihin mo,
Based
OBP.
on the JC and based on the issuance of cash advance, it is the special disbursing officer
Who
as
is?
the accountable officer.
Can you please cite the name of the special disbursing officer?
As shown in the check, Your Honor, it is Miss Gina Acosta.
And apart from Miss Gina Acosta, who else has personal knowledge over these matters?
I don't have idea, Your Honor. I
And you
don't have
confirm
knowledge.
that Gina Acosta, the special disbursing officer, whom you described earlier as confidential official with salary grade 24, is one of those who were subpoenaed and who did not appear. Tama po ba?
Sa'yo, Tresita.
Tama po.
Bakit
Thank
sa
you.
tawa ka? Tawa
I
ka
have
ng tawa
nothing
dyan.
further, Mr. Chair.
Lakas ng tawa mo ah.
Thank you, Congresswoman Luistro.
Luis
Chair,
Tro. Luis
Deputy
Tro pala
I
ito
just
eh.
want
Luis
to
Tro.
ask a question. Attorney Sanchez,
Oh, ito
yung
naman
binanggit
isa pang
po ni,
buhaya.
Congressman Luistro na Special Disbursement Officer, ano pong pangalan niya?
May kaso na ito sa sa ombudsman eh.
She was the one
Oo.
cited in
Ito
contempt,
pang
right?
mukha niyang buhaya ito eh.
Along with
May kaso ito sa ombudsman ito eh.
Fajarda.
Kaya sumisip-sip ng gusto eh.
I just wanted to get that clear. Thank you very much.
Your Honor, may we please recognize the presence of Honorable Jonathan Kitty Flores from
Honorable,
2nd District of
honorable.
Bukidnon and Honorable Steve C. Solon from the Lone District of Sarangani. Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, the chair would like to recognize the next interpellator.
Palike and share mga guys. Pa-subscribe na rin.
You have the floor, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, gusto ko pong i-direct ang aking katanungan kay Ginoong Jerome Tenedo.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair.
Good afternoon po. Bilang eksperto po no sa budget and planning, budget preparation, familiar po kayo sa estimation at forecasting ng mga
Ito na
budget.
may tinatawag nila young guns.
Kumbaga, i-request mo yung budget,
Ang babata pa, mga buhaya na.
nagre-request ka ng budget na kaya mong utilize, tama po ba?
That's correct, Mr. Chair.
So pag nag-request ka ng budget for 1 year, kaya mong siguraduhin na ito kayang-kaya mong i-utilize ng isang taon?
Should be, Mr. Chair.
Oo
So
nga,
pag
tama.
nag-request ka naman ng 1 quarter, ng isang quarter,
Tama, huwag na silang sagutin pa
yung
kasi
i-request mo rin, kaya mong i-utilize sa isang quarter.
Should be, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
tataw, Chair.
Mr. Kelvin, ano ang trabaho mo sa OVP?
And,
Isa pa akong budget officer. Involved po ako sa paggawa ng budget proposal during budget proposal submission to DBM.
Bilin?
And then during budget
Bilon?
legislation sa mga hearing po ng Committee on APRO, gumagawa din po kami ng documents to be ready documents for the hearing.
Okay. Kanina may tinanong si Congresswoman Jinky kanina.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yung na-alter, no? Kasi sinabi
Itatapos
kanina,
yan kasi
walang
hindi pa nakuha yung pondo.
budget, no? Walang
bigyan ni
nakalagay na
Tambos-
budget
Tambalos
para dun
Los,
sa
hindi pa yan
confidential
tapos.
fund o maintenance, no? Ng mga safe houses nung panahon ni VP Robredo. Tapos nung naging si VP Duterte na, nagkaroon na ng budget for maintenance ng mga safe houses. May kinalaman ka ba sa bilang budget officer, may kinalaman ka ba sa paglalagay ng budget na ito?
Specifically for safe houses, wala po, Mr. Chair.
Di ba
Totoo,
sa'yo
Sir
dumadaan
Linda,
lahat,
talagang
lalong-lalo na pag mga request
hindi
ng mga
matatapos
budget,
yan. Kasi
Siyempre, may
hanggat
kinalaman
may
ka sa
pundo pa si
paglalagay
Tambalos Los, hindi
ng
matatapos
menu.
yan.
pagdagdag ng menu, no? Sa
That's-
budget nito.
That's correct, Mr. Chair. But in general sense po yung naging nakalagay sa letter as confidential expenses or confidential fund, wala pong breakdown na merong maintenance of safe houses.
Sa tot
So,
po sa
yung
inyong lahat.
nakalagay sa budget ng OVP, na nakalagay doon is maintenance for safe houses. Wala kang kinalaman
Salamat.
dito. Hindi ikaw ang naglagay dito sa inyong budget proposal.
Yes, at the time of submission of request, wala pong ganong specific na expense type or need, sir.
So paano to nailagay sa budget ng OVP kung hindi dumaan sa inyo? Yung maintenance ng mga safe houses.
Sir, Mr. Chair, the maintenance of safe houses is part of the confidential expenses. Yung umbrella term na confidential expense po, yung naging part ng letter. However, dun sa letter, hindi na po nakaspecify ano po yung mga menu or items under confidential expenses na paggagamitan ng confidential fund.
Sino ang naglagay ng menu na ito?
I have no knowledge po, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Mr. Kevin, no, responsibility niyo din sa bilang budget officer na mag-flag down, no, ng mga deficiencies or flaws pag meron kayo nakikita sa budget implementation ng OVP, tama po ba?
That's correct, Mr. Chair.
Sa paggastos ng mga pondong natanggap din ng OVP.
That's correct, Mr. Chair.
May mga napansin ka bang irregularidad sa paggastos ng 125 million confidential fund ng OVP?
Wala po, Mr. Chair. I have no knowledge with regards to utilization. The budget division is mainly involved on the early phase po on the request of cash advance for confidential activities.
So wala kang alam, lalong-lalo na sa kung paano ni-utilize.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Yeah. Madam Rosalyn Sanchez, di ba po kayo ang pumipirma ng cheque? Kasama po kayo sa pumipirma ng cheque?
Mr. Chair.
Attorney Sanchez, you're right.
Buti mga magagaling
Thank you,
itong
Mr.
mga
Chair.
mga tinatanong.
That is correct, Your Honor. Mr. Chair.
So, tingin niyo po ba hindi kasama sa inyong trabaho na tignan kung ang mga pinipirmahan niyo pong cheque, naayon po ba o tama ang paggastos?
Mr.
Sir
Chair,
Linda, hanggat
Your
may
Honor,
pundo pa
at
si
the time
Tambalos
that the
Los,
cash
hindi
advance
matatapos
is
yan.
issued,
Hearing na yan.
there's still no utilization yet. So, nangyayari po yung issuance ng check at the start. So, yung utilization phase po, hindi na po covered ng signature ko on the check, Your Honor, and also under the joint circular, Your Honor. It is not also part of my duties and responsibilities, Your Honor.
So, hindi ka nagtataka kung paano pamamaraan ginamit yung mga cheque na pinipirmahan mo?
Mr. Chair, because I do not have knowledge as to how it was spent, I am not in a position also para po magtaka, Your Honor.
Okay.
No, tama.
Mr. Mr. Tinedo,
Yes, Mr. Chair.
pumipirma po ba kayo ng Pumipirma po ba kayo ng
Nang ano?
yung tinatawag nating
Kayo, pumipirma ng bigyan ni Tambalos-Los.
FAR,
Ah,
FAR, o yung
Ah.
FAR.
Yes, Mr. Chair, the Financial Accountability Report.
Yes, Financial Accountability Report. Pumipirma po ba kayo nun?
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Meron po ba kayong pinipirmahan nun pagdating sa confidential fund?
Part po ng FAR, sir, is yung line item na or expense type na confidential expenses, sir. Mr. Chair.
So, nagsicertify ka, tama?
It's a certified correct po na may pondong nilaan sa OVP para sa confidential expenses at may pondo rin po na inobligate for the cash advance ng confidential activities.
So, wala rin itong kinalaman sa paggastos.
Yes, Mr. Chair.
Kung tama ang paggastos.
Correct, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you.
buti magagaling itong mga bata pa tinatanong, yung mga bata pa, yung magagaling nila.
Napansin ko din, Mr. Tinedo, na hindi kayo nakapag-disburse ng confidential fund ang OVP noong fourth quarter of 2023. Tama po ba?
Tama po, Mr. Chair.
Dahil dito ay may remaining balance o undisbursed balance ang OVP na 125 million.
That's correct, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Tinedo, kung tama ang budget planning at forecasting na isinasagawa ninyo para sa 2023 budget ng OVP, meron kayong inalot na 500 million na confidential
Pero mo,
fund
ang tagal na yan,
for the entire
pinag-uusapan pa.
year or
155 million lang.
million each quarter. Hindi ba
Samantala
kailangan
yung
ng Office of the
nangyayari
Vice
ngayon,
President
1.4
ang
billion
pondo
na raw,
na
hindi
ito
nila
para sa
pinag-uusapan.
fourth
Billion.
Based po dun sa aming report, wala na pong sinubmit na request for cash advance for the fourth quarter. So hindi na po namin na-utilize or na-obligate yung remaining 125 million for fiscal year 2023 last quarter.
Hindi ka ba nagtataka kung bakit first, second, and third quarter may
Ganda
request
naman ang tanong niya, hindi ka ba nagtataka?
confidential fund ang OVP sa kanyang paggastos, lalong-lalo na para sa mga warehouse and safe houses. Pero pagdating ng fourth quarter, bigla itong nawala at hindi na ginamit ng OVP ang kanyang budget for confidential fund. Hindi ba nakakapagtaka yon?
Nakakapagtaka po, pero during the reporting po namin internal, binabanggit po namin periodically na may remaining pa na 125 million na available for the last quarter.
Bakit ka nagtaka?
There is a program budget na po for the entire year. So, and yung 125 million is for the last quarter of 2023, significant siya na pwedeng maka-apekto sa budget utilization status or rate ng OVP.
Oo, tama ka.
Hence,
And
kailangan
Linda,
po
non-stop yan hanggat
na
may
may
ano pa si
available pa.
Tambalos-Los.
Hindi
Hanggat
ka
may
ba
bayad pa
nagtaka
sa mga
dahil
buhaya.
kawawa naman yung mga nasa mga safe
Oo,
houses
kawawa
and warehouses ninyo sa mga binibigyan nyo ng allowance ng mga intelligence officers at hindi ka ba nagtaka para doon?
At that time, Mr. Chair, wala po akong idea or knowledge kung paano ginagamit yung confidential expenses except those items na nakalagay sa joint circular. So, wala po akong basihan para pagtakhan kung paano yung mga safe houses, mga assets.
Tingin ko may alam ka rin ba kung ano na nangyari sa mga rewards and supplies for the informants? Kung ano nangyari sa kanila? So, I guess wala ka rin alam dito.
Yes, Mr. Chair, wala po akong knowledge.
Palikes lang mga guys, palikes lang please.
Alam mo, Mr. Tinedo, tingin ko, isa lang ibig sabihin nito, no? Dahil hindi
Para
dire-diretso
kumalat ang
yung
mga maraming
pag-utilize ng
nakapanood sa
pondo
kalukuhan
ng
nitong
OVP
mga buhaya.
ng kanyang confidential fund. Ang isa lang na ibig sabihin nito ay walang totoong programa na pinaglalaanan itong confidential fund. Kung kaya walang sinusundan na logic or forecasting ang budget para dito. At wala ring epekto sa ahensya na hindi nila nagamit yung kanilang confidential fund. Tingin mo po pwede ko bang yon? Isipin yon?
Sir, as part of OVP, may mga activities naman po yung OVP sa mga projects and programs. However, insofar as confidential activities is concerned, wala pong knowledge yung budget division. Lahat po kami doon. Kung paano ginagamit ang confidential funds.
Tama ka, Grace.
Alam po ninyo, sa isang
talagang
opisina,
nakatawa nga kasi wala nang katapusan itong mga ano eh.
imposible pong hindi kayo
Hindi pa naman maniwala kung paliwanagan.
nakakapagkwento-kwentuhan kung paano nyo nagagamit, no, ang isang pondo. Dahil alam naman natin lahat kayo nakapirma dito.
Ang gusto lang nila,
At
yung ano,
obligasyon din natin,
ang gusto lang nila guys, na marinig yung sang-ayon sa kanila. Pero pag mga pinapaliwanagan, talagang hanap sila ng butas para, ano, para sumang-ayon yung mga tinatanong nila. Mga buhaya nga talaga eh. Nakakainis talaga. Nakaka-high blood panoorin kung kaya lang. Kailangan din natin mapanood para alam natin yung mga ginagawa nila.
ninyo na siguraduhin na yung confidential fund nagagamit sa tamang pamamaraan. So, parang hindi ka
Akala mo mga
panipaniwala
malinis eh.
na talagang wala kayong idea kung paano ito na-utilize. No? Kasi syempre, lahat yan, you affix your signatures. At kahit papano, responsable kayo sa kung saan paano ito nagagamit.
Kasi nga Grace,
Lalong-lalo
kaya ayaw
na
nilang
ikaw,
pag-usapan
Madam,
yan, yung
Rosalyn
tungkol sa
Sanchez,
paggulan ng bansa, kasi ang gusto lang
yung
nila yan
pirma ay nasa cheque.
ay
Ikaw, Madam Villa
politika,
Del Rey,
politika po
kayo
yan.
po ang
Kaya ganyan ang
accountant
ginagawa
ng
nila.
Office of the Vice President na kahit papano, inaalam
Yan ang ginagawa nila, Grace, kaya di na matapos-tapos yan kasi politika yan. Lalo na malapit naman ang eleksyon. Saka ang gusto nila talaga nila, sirahanin yan si Sara, that expected nila na maging president sa sunod na na eleksyon sa 2028. Yan lang ay expected lang nila, pero hindi naman natin alam kung tatakbo ba yan si Sara o hindi. Tulad nung ginawa niya nung 2022, hindi naman tumakbo ng presidente. Pero yun ang expected ng mga tao, pero hindi naman. Ito, gusto lang nila siraan dahil ang gusto nila talaga yan itong si Tambaluslos ay maging prime minister o di kaya presidente para tuloy-tuloy ang pagnanakaw nila sa pera natin, pera ng taong bayan. Yan ang katotohanan. Kaya ayaw nila tigilan yan. Yan ang katotohanan mga guys.
nyo rin, sigurado ako, kung paano na-utilize at nagagamit yung mga pondo na ipinagkakatiwala sa Office of the Vice President. Maaaring sinasabi ninyo na wala kayong direktang information o walang nagpupuntang mga papeles na dumadaan sa inyong opisina. Pero kahit papano alam ko na dumadaan sa inyo yung impormasyon kung paano ito nagagamit. Mr. Teñedo, sa tingin ko, ikaw ang least guilty kung sakasakaling may nangyaring irregularidad dito sa paggamit ng confidential fund ng Office of the Vice President. At sana, kung may nalalaman ka, mas maganda, sabihin mo na. Kasi hindi naman titigil ang committee na ito na para mag-imbestiga, lalong-lalo na kung paano at ginamit, kung saan ginamit.
Tingnan mo, ipitin naman nila itong ng tanungin yan kahit na walang alam. Hanggat sa kung magkakamali ang gagawin nila, iko-contempt nila. Nasa nga si Boy Contempt, si Paduano, nasana yon. Ang gagawin nila, i-contempt nila, tapos pagkatapos noon, sa sunod na hearing, tuturuan nila. Yan ang ugali nila Tuturuan nila, bigyan ng scripted para magbago na yung mga paliwanag nung yung katotohanan, magbago na. Yan ang ginagawa nila diyan Wala naman silang ibang intention diyan na gumawa ng batas. Ang purpose lang nila diyan para manira. Para siraan lang si Sara. Yan lang, wala nang iba yan. Wala nang iba yan mga guys.
Ang confidential fund ng Office of the Vice President. Nakita nyo naman, may mga ilang tao na nakapirma, pero iba-iba yung pirma. Hindi alam kung saan, paano ginamit, or kulang yung information, lalong-lalo na sa acknowledgement receipt. Patong-patong na red flags, yung nauungkat tungkol sa Office of the Vice President Confidential Fund for 2022 and 2023. Tila ba ginagamit ang confidential fund bilang sistema para mag-commit ng plunder or manguha ng pera sa pamahalaan. So, kailangan nating malaman kung saan napupunta o paano nagagamit ang confidential fund na ibinibigay natin sa ating mga opisina. Yun lang po, Mr. Chair. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much, Congressman Kungkun. With the permission of the chair, I just want to clarify something.
Please continue, Deputy Speaker.
Miss Rabago, tama po ba? Kanina tinanong po kayo kung meron po kayong knowledge
ito naman,
tungkol sa
ito,
confidential funds?
Ito,
And your
akala mo
answer
kung makapagsalita ito,
I don't have any personal knowledge on the utilization of
akala
the
mo
confidential.
makapagtanong yan, may kaso yan.